Hi, I'm Eric.
And I'm Dick. We're the Annuity guys.
Dick, why should anybody rely on annuities?
Well, Eric, since the beginning of civilization, almost going back to the Roman Empire, annuities have proven themselves, and even more so in recent times. A lot of folks don't think of their pensions and their Social Security as being an annuity, but literally, unless you're a Warren Buffett, the Warren Buffetts of the world, everyone really does need to rely on annuities.
Well, it's looking at the most important aspect of what people have, especially in retirement here.
Right.
We're talking about income.
Yes.
It's nice to have a plethora of dollars. Everybody wants to have oodles and oodles of money in savings, but when you look at what you need when you're retired, you need income. You need income to spend for the things that take care of your necessities.
And we never know how long we're going to live.
Well, and the one thing we know is now we're living longer than ever.
That's the truth.
Healthcare, knock on wood, has gotten better and better. We see people living longer and longer lives. Mm-hmm. And that's the one challenge that most people have, that there's an uncertainty about in retirement, and that's how long will I be here, and how long will I need for my money to last?
Well, and just recently, folks, if you remember, Eric and I just a couple of weeks ago were talking about the survey. I can't recall all the numbers, Eric, but it was an overwhelming amount of folks that thought they wouldn't live past a certain point, that 50, 70% of them lived way past that point. And everyone tends to underestimate how long they're going to need their money in retirement.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's one way you can't afford to be wrong on that side, and that's being wrong on the short side. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that an annuity does, and I know we were just watching a video from Tom Hegna, and he quoted Menahem Yaari, and I love the quote here: "Only a lifetime annuity can optimize income over the indefinite period of a human life."
Exactly.
And it's like, well, what does that mean? Well, none of us know how long we're going to be here exactly, but the insurance companies do.
Yes, they do.
And you're going, what? What do you mean the insurance companies do? And it's using...
Maybe not individually.
Right, yeah. Unless you're like the insurance company of Guido or something.
Yes, exactly.
We know exactly when we're taking you out. Yeah. They know exactly, based off actuarial, historical means of how long you're going to be here.
Well, and I'm maybe getting a little ahead of us here, or what we're talking about, but a lot of folks worry that, well, if the insurance companies on these annuities guarantee all of these, incomes, and everybody's living longer, which really is happening, aren't they going to go broke?
Well, that's what's nice. They're actually playing both sides of the equation.
That's not fair.
Because we call them insurance companies, but really what they are when you're working with annuities, they're life insurance companies. They work with life insurance. They work with actuarial tables. So if you're living longer, guess what? They're not paying out as much on the life side.
And they're collecting premiums.
They're still collecting premiums, and that's what they're in turn taking and using on the other side to pay that income.
So they can really neutralize their situation, as an industry as a whole, if folks are living longer, because on one side, they're not paying out as soon. On the other side, they're paying out more.
That's right. So when we talk about annuities, we talk about using these, and it could be Social Security or pension, to take care of your foundational income.
Yes.
Take that need off the table. And why is it so important? Because you look at the number of things, or the number of risk factors, that an annuity will help you eliminate. You talk about market risk. We already talked about longevity risk, but not having to worry about market performance. And then we talk about dollar cost averaging, and what happens
reverse
when you
dollar cost averaging, right, when you're taking that money out.
So you got your withdrawal risk, your order of return. Because, as much as we like to think that, we're going to get 5%, 6% every year in returns, what happens in reality is we get 20 up, 30 up, then we get 40 down. Well, guess what? We're averaging 10% on the upside.
Yes.
But depending on your sequence of returns, that can really impact, that withdrawal rate. So, and then of course we've got, on the bond side, if you're trying to be conservative, we've got interest rate risk. And I think this is a big one, especially going forward for the economy right now, because interest rates are at all-time lows. Which way are they going to go?
Well, and you look at Japan, they've been in that situation for 25 years. Yeah, and there's nothing to say that we couldn't be in a long-term deflationary period. So it's almost a coin toss between the economists,
right.
whether we're going back into high inflation or whether we're going to go into de-inflation or deflation. Right. And so I think that one of the keys here, Eric, that folks underplay and don't fully understand, and that is how longevity risk is actually a multiplier of all of the other risks.
Right, because if you're gone in 1 or 2 years,
5 years,
it doesn't matter if you haven't saved enough money to last 20 years because you have. You made it through the period of time that it mattered. Now, if you only saved for 20 years and you live 25, then everything else is in play.
Right.
I mean, you've all these other risk factors.
Long-term care. You've got a long-term care risk. You've got an inflation risk. You've got a huge market risk at that point. If things had went sour. So that's one of the things that if you use annuities for the foundation of your portfolio, you're going to have come rain or shine income. And if we do go into a long deflationary period, that can be the best money you ever had because it's actually taking your spending power up. And we talk a lot about not putting all of your money in annuities, putting what you need for the foundation, and then optimize the balance of it to be more aggressive for inflation.
Right, because if you've got your core components covered, your core needs, your food, your shelter, those aspects you need to have coming out guaranteed with an annuity, whether it be an annuity, Social Security, pension, you covered the core, then isn't it nice where you can be a little bit more aggressive, where you can pull out in the good times, take your profits, and in the bad times, maybe you let it ride. So you can use that balanced equation in your portfolio.
One thing I think we need to address, Eric, are the different types of annuities, the different types of options that are available in today's world of annuities that aren't so much like your grandfather's annuity, 30, 40, 50 years ago when you really had that one choice, immediate annuity, give your money to the company, and if you die early, they keep it.
Yeah, nobody likes the idea of giving up a lump sum of money that potentially just goes to the insurance company.
Right.
We've worked hard, especially in today's 401k markets, where you've saved, you've seen that portfolio grow. Now it's time for retirement. Nobody wants to take that lump sum, give it to the insurance company, and then in 2 or 3 years, you do happen to pass, and then the money's gone. That's the old immediate annuity. Well, now in today's kind of hybrid style and the fixed indexed annuity style, you can still use these income riders, get some of that leverage of making sure that you've got that longevity risk covered, and still have the opportunity to control the asset. So if something does happen early on, yes, the money goes to the heirs. But if you should happen to outlive your peer group, you've got it covered. You've got that longevity risk covered.
Correct. And I do think that, each situation is so unique that there are certain folks that will benefit much more by the immediate annuity, and you have to run those numbers. You have to consider how that immediate annuity would work, or maybe for just a portion of your retirement, or your income need. So again, if you run those numbers, it really comes down to mathematics. Very straightforward solutions that can all be successful, but you have to run the numbers. You have to lay out the plans, the strategies, and where folks can look at them and go, well, this makes sense. I like this one. I don't like that one.
Yeah, and we've talked about outcome-based planning, knowing what you want to happen, and let's work backwards from the expectations to make sure that we can have multiple scenarios for success.
So, Eric, would you agree that the masses, the average person, really should rely on annuities?
I'm a big proponent of taking care of the foundation with an annuity.
I agree.